You can just use your phone on screen.
Oh, okay. Might try that.
I think we're live.
I do that in the car. It's quite groovy.
Yeah. Right. Oh, hello. I heard something. Right. Oh, hello.
Who's doing that?
That'll be Carlos.
Thanks.
That's a very nice empty A321 cabin behind you.
380?
Is it? Top deck, then? Yeah, it must be the top deck.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a bit empty.
Right, okay then. So apologies that we're a little late getting there. A couple of technical problems, but we think we've got it sorted. So we're a few minutes late starting, but shall we go?
Go on then.
Here we go. Oh, Nev, we're a minute and a half late.
Oh my God.
I know. I know.
It always runs on time when you're not here, Nev.
Well,
Oh, the shame, Mr. Bounds.
I'm going to look back on them and see if they were.
He will, you know.
What, you mean you haven't been checking?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 523 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, we have explosive news from Japan. Ryanair makes a triumphant return to Story 2, and we hear all about how we can save aviation by eating more chips. And in the military news, we've got a right lovely pair of tankers for you. Yes, I said tankers. With us, as always, it's, of course, our sweetheart of the sound waves and the one and only Sir Matthew Smithington.
I don't know what to take on that. And he's not here to defend himself either.
He's not here. He literally writ the intro and then ran off.
Yeah, yes, I'm not surprised, yes. Hello, yes, I'm very well. How are you?
Oh, marvellous, Matt. Marvellous.
Jolly good. That's what we like to
Yes,
hear.
living the dream.
Always the best way to be.
I was supposed to cut the grass during Gemma's visit away to Prague.
Right.
But I'm yet to do that because it's been raining.
It has been raining an awful lot. It has been relentless. Speaking of, I don't know where I was going with that.
Anyway, but she had a lovely flight with KLM, I will just say. She had a really nice flight over to Prague with KLM from Norwich.
Any special surprises?
Well, she didn't get any special surprises, but she did get good seats.
Ah, very good. That's what I like to hear.
Yes, they gave her extra comfort seats, as they call them with KLM,
Poosh.
which is quite nice, yeah. So she was quite happy with that. But anyway, good to see you as always, Mr. Smith. Now, here we go. Well, for weeks, the team here at PTUK have struggled on. We've dug deep. We've plundered our reserves, and we've tried to cope with the gaping void that has existed in the team. But those dark days of misery are coming to an end. Nick. He's back, and it's glorious, and we're delighted to celebrate the triumphant return of our one and only Mr. 1A. It is, of course, Neville Bounds.
Hello. Yes, I'm back. I've been allowed back for one night only. Well, maybe next week as well if I'm well behaved. So yeah, no, it's been a bit of a hectic. What was it, 3 weeks now? So yeah, I was doing we had a customer visit to our office in Brighton the first week. Then the week before last, I was in Edinburgh for the week, and then last week I was in Stockholm for the week. So yeah, it's this time of year we're very full on with shows, events, customer things, and what have you. But yes, I've got a couple of weeks, a couple of Wednesdays where I haven't got anything going on there. So I'm pleased to be back on this week and next week as well. So, I might show you some nice photos of the A320 Neo interior that I went on as well later on, perhaps. That was good. So, anyway, great to be back.
Excellent to have you back, as always, Nev. You had some good flights, though. Yeah,
I think everybody behaved themselves. Even the gate staff got the hang of how to board an aircraft now, so that's progress, isn't it? Both at Heathrow and in Arlanda. I mean, they're pretty good at Arlanda. Edinburgh can be a bit tricky, I have to say at times, but it wasn't too bad this time around. So it was all right.
Yeah, Richard Adams is asking in the chat room, Nev, anything worthy of a rant?
No, actually, I didn't have any attitude either from the Stockholm immigration folks, because I've got so many stamps in my passport. They go, oh, well, yes, don't forget you're only allowed out of the country for 90 days into the EU, blah, blah, blah. Because most of my trips are like 2 days or 3 days or occasionally a week for holiday, so I don't get anywhere near the limit. They were they normally get a bit shirty, but this time they just thumbed through and found an empty page and off I went.
Another stamp in the book, Nev. Another stamp in the book.
The nice thing about Terminal 2 at Arlanda as well, it's very quiet, so there's very few queues there, so it's quite useful as well.
Excellent. Well, good to have you back, Nev. We've missed you. And back again to add to the talking, or to add the talking to the plain talking, are mellifluous beardy bloke from up north.
What?
It's Captain Andy. No idea.
Oh. That was actually a compliment that Nick was paying me. Mellifluous.
Oh, okay.
Smooth, pleasant to listen to. That's what that means.
Oh, wow, okay.
Hello, Andy.
Hello. It's nice to be back again. Is this 2 weeks on the trot?
I know, you've
3
done
weeks?
well.
Something like that. I told you I'm disappearing for the next 3 weeks, though, so I'm actually going flying next week.
Oh!
Yeah.
Anywhere
I'm going
nice?
to Prague, actually.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll tell Gemma to stay out there another week and you can bring her back then.
Oh, dear.
Well, if she wants to go to Gatwick, yeah, no problem.
Oh, right, yeah, that's probably going to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Well,
Bit of a
presumably
long
somebody's
taxi ride.
picking her up, though, so, I mean, you know.
Yeah, actually, that'd give me an excuse to drive to an airport
Yeah, exactly.
larger than Norwich, to be fair.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of a trek for you, though, mate.
That is a bit of a trek, yeah, Gatwick is, yeah, to be fair.
Yes. But it's
Much
nice to be back.
preferred.
I'm in the pub. It's cold
He's
and
in the
miserable
pub.
outside, but it's nice and warm in here.
Lovely.
Excellent. How's all the sim and training work going, Andy? Still busy, I'm guessing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've been working from home the past week. I'm just in a mountain of compliance and regulatory paperwork at the moment that I'm sorting out. But tidy all that up at the end of this week, and then I go south again next week for some excitement and adventures.
Ooh, nice. Well, good to have you back in the air, Andy, for definite.
Yeah, it'll be good fun. It's
You
been
looking
a while.
forward to it?
Yeah, it's been a long time. So I'm looking forward to going and actually flying a plane.
Excellent. So it's the top of it's nearly the top of the month. We missed it last week, but it's obviously our time to say a big thanks to everyone who supports the show. And we've got a new Patreon as well on the show this month. So, Nev, who are our amazing people who help us with the show?
Yeah, we have indeed. And the new Patreon is Christy G. So thank you very much indeed for your contribution. That's very welcome. And the other members of Patreon are Richard Adams, Derek Smith, Bill Aronic, Sam Dawson, Alex Robinson, Dirk S, Sasha Beer, Stephen Ivey, Nick Codlin, Louis Cashares, Alan White, Stephen Howland, Tanya Wyman, Nicholas Hewitt, Masha Hertz, Ruben Wells, Neil Lambourne, Graham Haley, Jonathan Warner, Jordan Rose, Andrew Wilson. I don't know why he was even paying, but he does. Captain Jeff, Adam Spink, Liz Piper, Jeff Ward, Benjamin Todd, Jenny Parkinson, Stuart Backer, Stephanie Plummer. And for those people who make a contribution by PayPal, that's Mazuz Kareem and Craig Urosoko. So thank you very much to all of you. That really does help us with the website hosting costs and the media hosting costs as well to keep us on the air. Really appreciate your contributions. Thank you.
Yes.
I will just add in there, Nev. That's not me. That is a different Andrew Wilson.
That's the other Andrew Wilson. I've just realised. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
He wouldn't pay for this rubbish, honestly.
I actually know 6 Andrew Wilsons,
Do you?
and I can never differentiate between any of them.
Oh, wow.
Well, all northern, are they?
No, only one.
Well, that
To be
helps.
fair,
Yeah.
in the tiny little village I grew up in the middle of nowhere, there were 3 Andrew Wilsons. None of us related.
Wow. We had a
It's a
similar.
very common name.
We had a similar thing with, I was called Matt, literally, or Matthew, literally, because of that, because it was a name that hadn't appeared or been used much, and then I had 3 in my class alone. Same sort of thing.
I'll just stick with Carlos. No one else is called that.
You're very unique, Carlos.
Apart from that's not your actual name, but anyway, that's...
All right. Anyway, we're going to say a big thanks to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room tonight. Starting off at the top of the list, he was in there. Well, actually, these first 2 were in very early tonight. It's Mazouz, our local listener, Mazouz Karim. Good to see you in there. Richard Adams as well. Good to see you in there tonight. We've got Captain Cruz. Good evening, he says. John Jester. He's in the chat room. Richard E. Flag. Oh my word! Richard had put some awesome stuff on the site this week from Thorpe Abbott's. I don't know if you saw it, Matt. It was such a good video.
Know.
Really, really good video Richard had put on there this week. John Falk, hello to you. It says evening from Belgium,
Ooh,
my
lovely.
regular place. Hello to Alan White. Good to see you in there, Alan. Darren Smith. Evening ad geeks and radio presenters, he says. Very good, Darren.
Don't know those.
Tanya W. Hello, Tanya. Good to see you as well. John Falk, we've got Hobby Time. Hello to you. Masha. Good evening, everyone, she says. Good to see you, Masha. Christy G, our latest Patreon. Thank you, Christy. Good to see you in the chat room. We have got, I think I've got everyone off the top. And Andy Wilson, who makes a comment there at the end. I'm not going to read that out, but yeah, thanks, Andy. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight into the chat room, and also our audio downloaders of the show who will be listening to this a little bit later, I no doubt. But we've got loads of news to get through this week. Caption this, which it's safe to say captured definitely a lot of people's eyes on Facebook this week. If you've not seen it, it's on our Facebook page. But the picture this week, I don't know if you've seen it, Nev. It definitely sparks some interest.
Oh, yes, definitely. The reason I was slightly distracted then was because my boss has just sent me a text, and when he does that, that normally means he's about to come into the chat room and be disruptive. But as he's several thousand miles away in Dallas, I'm hoping he's busy working and not listening to the show tonight. But let's see what happens.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you. John Jester's disapproving of the background I've got tonight with a 380 with no seats in.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Thought it was a bit different this week, but anyway. So as I said, loads to get through. Caption this. We have this week, obviously, as I said, which is going to be awesome, and some great news. So if all the team is ready,
Yeah.
Indeed.
let's go.
Captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
Just for you, John Jester. There we go. I've changed it. First up this week from english.kyodonews.net. Now, saw this one pop up on the old feeds this week, and there is a video to go with this, which we've got as well, which is pretty incredible. But a runway closed at Japan Airport after a World War II bomb exploded on a taxiway. An unexploded World War II era bomb exploded on a taxiway at Miyazaki Airport in southwestern Japan last Wednesday in the morning, forcing closure of its runways. Although no injuries were reported, authorities said video footage from the Civil Aviation College, which uses the airport as a training base, showed a black cloud of dust and debris shooting up from the ground just 2 minutes after an aircraft passed nearby. The Transport Ministry said its officials found a hole with a diameter of 7 meters and a depth of 1 meter on the taxiway after the explosion, which was heard around 8 a.m. The Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit investigated the site. All flights to and from the airport from which the pilots who carried out kamikaze missions during World War II took off from were suspended from around 9 a.m, with the airport authorities allowing each airline to decide when to resume their services on the Thursday. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshiyama Hayashi told a press conference in Tokyo that a US-made bomb was the cause of the explosion. Formerly an air base of the Imperial Japanese Navy, the airport has often been affected by discoveries of unexploded US bombs from World War II. 2 unexploded shells were found at the airport in 2011 and another one in 2021. Local firefighters said they received a report at around 8:10 a.m. that an explosion was heard, and police instructed airport personnel to evacuate the area. Long lines formed at airline counters in the airport's lobby following the incident. And one person had said, I had switched to another flight, but that too has been cancelled. So I talked with my company and decided to extend my stay. Oh, well, good reason, I suppose. The facility is some 5 kilometers from central Miyazaki, the capital of Miyazaki Prefecture, and serves domestic routes, including those to and from Tokyo's Haneda Airport and Osaka, as well as international routes. So the video definitely was an eye-opener. I don't know, did you see the video for this, Nev? When
I didn't actually know. It's the first time I've seen it. Yeah.
But there's a part of that video where it shows that airliner taxiing along that taxiway, and it is literally, if you look at the time index, it is literally like 2 minutes after that. I think it was a 737, I think it was. Taxis past that goes off. But this could have ended slightly different, Andy, had that have gone off earlier.
Oh yeah, that would have caused quite a bit of damage to the wing of that aircraft. But the bit that gets me, where this occurred, that picture's perfect. It's on the shoulder of a taxiway. I mean, how did they not find that when they were digging up to put that taxiway in?
True.
It's a very good point.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, but, well, just very lucky that it didn't cause any serious damage to anyone.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with unexploded ordnance. There's plenty of it everywhere. There's lots of it in this country as well. It keeps getting found as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comment there from Richard Adams in the chat room. Good point.
Yeah, he's saying surprising that they haven't done a full scan of the field before, as Andy was saying there, really. I mean, it's amazing it wasn't found at the time of doing the building, you know. It's been there. It's been not been funny. It's been there a while.
Just a bit.
I'd imagine with the vibrations of the jets and stuff taxing past, and that something obviously upset that particular piece of ordnance. So
maybe it was just the age as well, and the fuse finally gave out. After all that time. Yeah, Darren's right. That would have ripped the wing off, the tank off, probably half the fuselage. It would have destroyed the aircraft.
Yeah, it's been a right mess. It's definitely been a write-off, wouldn't it? I think.
Oh yeah. And there would have been injuries in that as well. So lucky timing. It's a good job it went off, and they know it was there now. Hopefully they're going to check the rest of the field now as well.
Well, yeah, genuinely a potential concern, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be some sort of system they can use to scan underneath the ground. You know,
just a metal detector, basically a metal detector.
Yeah. Nev. You've got the next story.
Yes.
Two, Ryanair story.
More fire. Aerotime.aero is the website. And it says that Ryanair Boeing 737 emergency evacuation in Italy following an engine fire. Well, everyone on board a recent Ryanair flight was forced to evacuate when the cabin crew noticed fire emanating from one of the aircraft's 2 engines as it began its takeoff roll at an airport in Italy. All passengers and crew made it off the aircraft safely with no apparent injuries, having exited using the emergency slides. But Ryanair flight FR8826 was scheduled to operate on October the 3rd from Brindisi to Turin, and the flight operated by a Malta Air Boeing 737-800 registered 9 Hotel Oscar Charlie Bravo on behalf of parent airline Ryanair, pushed back from its gate at Brindisi and headed out to the active runway 31 at the airport. With 184 passengers and crew on board for the 90-minute flight to Turin, the aircraft prepared to begin its takeoff roll. However, the cabin crew became aware of smoke and flames coming from the right-hand engine and alerted the flight crew. The pilots promptly shut down both engines and ordered immediate evacuation of the aircraft using the emergency escape slides. Video footage of the incident shows airport fire vehicles arriving swiftly at the scene, with firefighters hosing down the number 2 engine with fire retardant. Meanwhile, on the other side of the plane, passengers can be seen exiting down the slides and walking off to the grass area alongside the runway threshold. The airport was closed temporarily whilst the incident was dealt with and the aircraft was removed from the runway. Hope no one was taking bags. I haven't actually seen the video yet. According to data from Flight Radar 24, the original aircraft had operated 6 sectors to and from Turin the previous day and had operated from there to Brindisi on the morning of the incident. The plane was departing to Turin when the engine fire occurred. The aircraft remains grounded at Brindisi at the time of writing, presumably awaiting inspection and possibly repairs to the engine or replacement. Data obtained from CH Aviation shows that the aircraft involved is 8.7 years old, having first been delivered to Ryanair as EI Foxtrot Oscar Papa in February 2016. It was then transferred to the Malta Air subsidiary and registered as 9 Hotel Quebec Charlie Bravo in November 2019. The incident follows another Ryanair 737 suffering a ground incident in Italy early in the same week. Just 2 days earlier, 737 MAX 8200 was left stranded on the runway at Milan Bergamo Airport after its 4 landing gear tyres suffered a blowout during the landing. I'm not getting overly excited about this story because if you think of the number of sectors that Ryanair fly, the very few incidents ever make the news at all, which means that they have a pretty good track record, generally speaking, I would say. Yeah, I think that's all good. And also good that from what the story says, that the cabin crew spotted something and alerted the flight deck crew, presumably, and that is an important part of operating an aircraft, I would have thought, Andy, as well. If the cabin crew sees something that they don't like outside, then they can actually alert the flight deck to it.
Yeah. Depending on the aircraft type, sometimes they can't get in touch with the flight deck because a lot of things are inhibited at certain points. Yeah. But yeah, it's good that they let them know. Looking at the picture that was just shown there, this could just be a compressor stall as well. But hey, they did the right thing. They stopped. They decided it was better to get everybody off, and everybody was fine. Brilliant. Job well done.
Would that be an indication on the flight deck as well with the compressor stall, Andy, or is that something that doesn't get?
No. Well, you'd see that the engine was stalling, but you wouldn't get a fire indication because no, you wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah, still not the sort of thing that you'd want to see out the window, Matt, when you're.
No, very much not. So I'd be absolutely convinced that we were all about to die. Certainly. Not that I'm dramatic in any way, shape, or form. I just want to make that clear.
You'd be in good hands if Andy was there. Yeah,
that is very true. I wouldn't be, brown trousering it if Andy was in the cockpit.
Right, you're going to come flying then with us, yeah?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Try anything once.
Right, Andy, you've got next one from the Middle East.
Yeah, this is from Fortune.com. The Middle East's largest airline bans pages and walkie-talkies after Hezbollah devices explode. Emirates passengers aren't allowed to bring pages and walkie-talkies on board, the airline said, after similar devices belonging to the militant group Hezbollah exploded in Lebanon last month. All passengers travelling on flights to, from or via Dubai are prohibited from transporting pages and walkie-talkies in checked or cabin baggage, Emirates said in a statement on Friday. It added that such items found in passengers' hand luggage or checked baggage will be confiscated by Dubai police. When asked for further details, Emirates didn't immediately provide a comment. In an Israeli intelligence operation, Hezbollah pages and walkie-talkies laced with explosives were detonated last month, killing 37 people and injuring nearly 3,000. Sources told the Washington Post that the operation originated in 2022 through the Israeli spy service Mossad, first beginning by inserting booby-trap walkie-talkies into Lebanon in 2015. That's the long game. Those devices helped Israel listen to Hezbollah's conversations and were also an option for use as bombs in the event of a future crisis. Then in 2023, a marketing executive in the Middle East offered Hezbollah Taiwanese-branded Apollo pages but didn't know they were assembled in Israel under Mossad oversight and contained a battery pack with a minuscule amount of powerful explosive, according to the Post. Meanwhile, travel continues to be restricted in the region as tensions escalate. Emirates said that flights to Lebanon will remain suspended until October the 15th as Israel steps up attacks against Hezbollah, with some airstrikes nearing Beirut's airport. Flights to Iran and Iraq will stay suspended until Tuesday. That's as expectations are high that Israel will soon retaliate against Tehran for the most recent barrage of missiles it launched. And it goes on to talk a bit more about what's happening in the region, but I think we're all very much aware of that. But Emirates...
Pages.
Yes, well, the story goes that they decided not to use mobile phones because they realised they could be infiltrated very easily. So went down the roads of wanting to use pagers and walkie-talkies and stuff, but Mossad found out and thought, hey up, he's an idea, lads. It's very James Bond-esque. But Emirates aren't the only airline. I believe I saw Qatar had put out a tweet or whatever we call it now on X saying the same thing, that they were banned from flights. And I think most airlines will probably ban them from flights from that region.
I mean, the thing, rightly or wrongly, the thing that is surprising me most about this story is the fact that pagers are still in use.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one scenario that I can think of where a pager is still in use in the UK, and even their technology model is moving in the next sort of few weeks or so, and that's the fire service. They're the only outfit that retain fire service, and that's more because of coverage and range. I think that's the only scenario I can think of where a pager is still in like daily use, if you see what I mean. But then, I mean, these are not countries that are behind in their technology, if you see what I mean. So it's not like they're using that technology because mobiles don't exist, as you say, and they've gone down that route. But surely by definition, that the impact, I don't know. It seems like an odd form of technology to target, really, I guess.
Mm.
What, for who? For Hezbollah or for the Israelis?
Well, I just meant, I'm surprised that there's that many people using pagers still.
No. So they moved entirely to a pager system so that the phones wouldn't get intercepted.
Oh, I see.
Because they were so worried about their mobile communications being intercepted,
right? Okay.
That they said, right, we're going to pagers.
Wow.
So that's why they did it.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So they went. As John says there, they went backwards in technology to try and prevent hacking, but it hasn't turned out great.
No. No, I suppose you just have to find out that that's what's being done, and then you're as vulnerable as you were before, essentially.
Yeah, Richard Adams says, I think most pages in the UK are gone as the frequencies were reallocated.
True, yeah.
I had one when I was at college.
Yeah.
That's quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I know nobody ever needed to get hold of me that urgently, to be fair.
I bet you had a pager, didn't you, Nev?
No, I didn't. I just had a BT phone card before the days of mobile phones. So my first mobile phone was 1987, so that was the built-in one to the car. But we had to, before that, 2 years worth of work, we had our BT phone cards that we stopped off and phoned the office from a rather smelly phone box. I'm not going into any more detail, obviously, there. Just to see if anybody wanted us at all. And then we'd carry on to our next appointment. Unbelievable how just not having that level of communication then. But it was a different time. You know, it was if a customer of mine wanted a quotation for some equipment, oh yeah, just send it second class post. Yeah, no rush, just get someone to type it out. So
Wow.
This is going off topic now, but do you not wish it was that way now? I do.
yes, I do. Although, to be fair to my company that I'm working for, they are very good about leaving you alone when you're on holiday or dealing with things themselves. There's plenty of people in the company to deal with things. I have worked for other companies where I just seem to be on speed dial for any situation that might happen. You know, but there we are.
Bit of nostalgia there. Mobile phone or car phones, Nev. Wow. Awesome.
Wow.
Right. This
talking of Israel, I did make a slight error the only time I've been to Israel. Did I ever mention this story?
No.
Oh, no.
Go on.
I think we can get away with it now because I've left the company that I was working for.
Jolly good, right?
So I think we should be okay.
Okay.
When you check in at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv, this is back in the 90s. You know, you had to check in then 3 hours before you got into the airport or into the departures area, and there was a lot of pre-screening that went on, and they're quite aggressive with the questions that they're asking and all the rest of it, just to try and work out who's really coming through the airport. This is going out of the country, not coming in, and it was just at the time when laser pointers for commercial use were coming out, very small ones, and my customer very kindly had given me one of these as a gift, and I just didn't bother to declare it or anything, just went through the machine, everything was okay, and I got to the other side. I was in the departure lounge. I thought, oh, this is really good, isn't it? As I was using my laser pointer on the ceiling of the departure lounge area, and a security fellow came up to me and advised me I shouldn't be doing that. And because this was in
enthusiastic, they were.
Yeah, this was probably 1997, 98, something like that. So yeah, but, interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
At least you're here now, Nev. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
They might still have a file on me though somewhere. So it could
I'm
be
sure. Yeah.
Wow. Next up from aviation24.be, and be good to hear your input on this, Andy. We have got the video as well. Hard landing ground, Sun Class Airlines A321 at Skiathos Airport in Greece. So on the 15th of September, a Sun Class Airlines A321, Oscar Yankee Tango Charlie Golf, suffered a hard landing on the runway 19 at Greek Airport in Skiathos. The aircraft operated at flight DK1614 from Stockholm, Arlanda in Sweden. Based on FR24 data, the aircraft was grounded for quite some time of writing the story, and info that avherald.com received from two independent sources revealed that the aircraft requires a new landing gear. A ferry flight to Copenhagen, Denmark is being prepared where the landing gear will be replaced. So we've got a video here that Matt's hopefully got there to play of the particular landing in question. Andy, be good to hear your feedback on this. It's one thing to notice, I think there's a slight hill here, so we do lose a sort of good view really of the gear when this aircraft touches down. But
yeah, Skiathos does have an uphill. You can see there in the flare, it just drops out of the sky. Nice bit of wind shear.
Goodness me, that was quite a bump.
Yeah, well, it must have been quite a bump if these sources are correct, and it does need new landing gear after that. They can take quite a pounding, that landing gear, but they can only take so much pounding.
My goodness me, I mean, that must have, as you say, given if they're replacing the... I mean, are they replacing it just because it's a... I guess they taxied to where they were supposed to, were they? I mean, it's...
Yeah, who knows? It didn't, in my opinion, it didn't look that bad. It bounced laterally. There was a lot of wobble there, so I don't know if there's the lateral forces have caused issues in it, because looking at it taxiing in there, looks pretty fine, to be honest.
Yeah, no tires are black.
Yeah, close up, there could be seals burst. Part of it could be bent, part of the locking mechanism. So if they decide to replace it, then it's all about fixing up the seals that they can and then getting a permit to fly to ferry it back to wherever they want to do the work on it. So they'll have to prove that the gear is safe to do that flight.
Otherwise, presumably, they'd have to bring the gear to where the aircraft is, essentially, to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or would that be a case, Andy, that's happened before, where they'd fly the aircraft back with the gear extended?
Oh yeah, they won't be retracting that gear now. It'll
Yeah.
be locked in place. So even if they try and bring it up, it won't come up.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, it didn't look too bad, but there are methods to get it to where you want it to be to get it fixed. There's all sorts of approvals that you have to go through, and you get a bit of paper at the end that say, yes, we can do this. So I'll be interested to see when it does leave Skiathos, and I'm sure all the people on Flight Radar 24 will be following it, and it'll be all over the internet when it does happen.
Yeah, I bet.
Do you think, because the runway's shortish, isn't it, at Skiathos, I seem to remember, do you think there's a reluctance on the flight deck crew to add too much speed to VREF, and that's why perhaps the wind shear was worse than it would have been otherwise, perhaps?
No, if it was reported, then they'll have probably, hopefully, ran the performance calculations with a little bit extra added on to see if they could do it.
Yeah.
Then if they couldn't, then okay, let's give it a shot. I mean, it was very low level wind shear. I mean, you're talking 20, 30 feet above the ground. At that point, it's a split second, then you're on the ground.
Yeah.
I think they've just had a bit of bad luck, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Case if it looked worse than it actually was, then, Andy.
Well, I think it's a case of it turned out worse than it looked, in my opinion. It wasn't that heavy a landing looking at it.
Right, Nev, you've got the next one.
Always concerns me when a story starts off with Nick's writing, "This is quite long," he says. And it's about China. So there's going to be the opportunity for difficult pronunciation here, but we'll give it a go. It's on CNN.com. And it says the C919 is China's answer to the A320, but what's it like on board? Well, the C919 is China's first homegrown mainline passenger plane, manufactured by Shanghai-based state-owned Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, which is shortened to COMAC. After spending years in development and lengthy delays, the twin-engine jet made its maiden commercial voyage with hometown carrier China Eastern in May 2023. Long touted as a potential game changer in global commercial aviation, the C919 is COMAC's answer to the Boeing 737 and the Airbus A320, two of the world's best-selling aircraft types. Despite recording more than 1,000 orders, the C919 seemed dogged by skeptics who question its Chineseness, with key parts such as engines and flight control systems imported from the US and Europe, and its commercial viability given the Airbus-Boeing duopoly in the market. Well, from a distance, the C919 could easily be mistaken for an A320 with its more rounded nose and curved fuselage compared to the 737. More discerning eyes would probably notice the C919's distinctive cockpit windows and wingtips. The impression about stepping up to the month-old C919, as they were doing a review of this, was that it felt just like an A320, but with a bit of lingering new plane smell. To its credit, amongst the big three state-owned carriers that operate the aircraft type, Air China opted for the most spacious configuration with 158 seats out of the possible maximum of 192. So that's 8 in first class and 150 in economy. In this age of cattle class for economy flyers, any extra legroom counts. Well, they'd paid for an emergency exit row seat and were more than pleased with the legroom for both exit rows 19 and 20, which offered more space than even domestic first class. And as someone who's 180 centimetres tall, this fellow could easily stretch his legs all the way out with his feet barely touching the seat in front of him. Other aspects of the interior look more run-of-the-mill. There are individual air nozzles for customised climate control, and economy passengers not in exit rows have a foldable device holder for smartphones and tablets just above the tray table. The economy seats themselves in a typical 3x3 layout are of the thin variety, which are increasingly popular with airlines as they cram more rows into the main cabin. But any potential discomfort on the flight was mitigated by the free pillows. And beneath the seats, every 3 passengers share 2 sockets featuring both USB-A and USB-C plugs. For a jetliner with a range of up to 5,555 kilometres, just under 3,500 miles, Air China's C-19 seems to count on passengers to provide their own in-flight entertainment. So whilst each seat back contains literature space with actual in-flight magazines, as well as pouches for personal items, there are no individual screens or Wi-Fi on board. And that must be where the device holder comes in, because programming shown is on the drop-down screens, which seemed universally unappealing, it says. Where are we? So it says Air China serves hot meals in economy during meal hours, even for short-haul flights. And this particular flight was 1 hour and 40 minutes. Bottled water was placed in each seatback pouch before boarding, along with an omelette, yoghurt and a chocolate bar, which tasted totally fine. This chap also checked out one of the 2 economy lavatories in the back of the cabin. It's bright and was clean and well stocked on this flight. I'm not really sure what you expect to find in a toilet, but it has a coat hook and feels less cramped than many of the latest versions on the A320 or Boeing 737. Following a smooth touchdown in Shanghai, some 40 minutes ahead of schedule, there was no applause or cheers, which is never a Chinese tradition on airplanes anyway. After deplaning, he noticed a few more passengers perhaps made aware by the in-flight announcement about the Chinese aircraft taking photos of the C-919. Saving a few bumps along the way, it was a decidedly uneventful journey. Most people, including frequent flyers, likely didn't feel much difference flying the C-919 compared to previous flights on the ubiquitous A320 or 737. So as far as passenger expectations concerned, this C-919 flight has earned a solid B in terms of safety and comfort. Well, there we are. I'm not sure of the point of this aircraft in many respects, because if you wanted a high technology, twin engine, single aisle aircraft, the A320 and 737 is it, isn't it, really? For the sort of routes that they want to fly. But
the A320 is also manufactured in China.
It is, yes. I was just about to ask you whether they were doing manufacturing in China as well.
Yeah, they have a factory there for the Asian market.
I was going to say, sorry.
The flight deck?
What do you think? I popped a few pictures in the folder there for Matt to put on the screen of the
only one, I'm afraid.
Flight deck of the. Was only one? Was there?
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen the flight deck.
This is the only one that's there, I'm afraid.
Oh, there we go.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh, there's a lot going on there, isn't there? It doesn't.
Busy, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Is it in Cantonese, do you think? No, it's not.
I hope not. Wow, that's a lot of information. Yeah, it looks nothing like an Airbus.
No, it
I've
doesn't.
got to be honest. It looks like a cross between a 737 Max, those thrust levers off an Embraer. Maybe they've just got bits from everywhere. I don't know.
A Heinz 57,
it's very nice to hear.
as we like to call it.
Yeah, it's nice to hear somebody's experience of flying on it, but I'd take more trust in hearing what a Western pilot thinks of it and has a go of it and see what it's actually like. Very interesting. They've got their own large enough domestic market to make this aircraft work within China, but I doubt it's going to sell anywhere else. Maybe some of their allies, so Russia, Iran, maybe, because Iran suffers a lot with restrictions on parts for their older aircraft.
Yeah, I've just popped another one in there for Andy, Matt, to have a look at if you get a second to pop that in there. Yeah, there's a few comments in the chat room, actually, Andy, that people are saying it's a bit of an Airbus kind of take on anything.
Yeah, oh yeah, now it's sort of, I don't know if it's just the colour picture, so it's like Boeing brown but Airbus style, and they've just mixed everything together. Yes. Richard Adams has got a fair point as well. Trying to get it certified outside of China. They're probably not trying to do that at the moment. So then you couldn't use it.
That flap lever's straight out an Airbus parts bin, isn't it? As well.
It is, yeah. Just it looks like the top of the handle has been Tipex white.
Yes.
And it looks like the speed brake, they've put a gear knob from a Vauxhall Corsa on the top of the handle.
Yes. Yeah.
Those fuel control switches, they look very like Airbus ones as well.
No, I'd say those fuel control cut-offs look like the MD-11 ones, or the ones that they fitted on the 737 MAX now, because they've got rid of the levers and they've got actual switches on them now, like that. But yeah, so it's a bit of a hodgepodge mix. But I suppose it's very difficult to be original now in flight deck design when you've got the two big companies who've spent billions of pounds on ergonomics and anthropometrics to find the perfect solutions for pilots.
Yeah.
Richard Adams says that they've raided Carlos's place.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes.
Stop giving me ideas, Richard, honestly.
You can neither confirm or deny that accusation.
I know I'm on my own here in the house at the moment, apart from the boys downstairs, but don't give me ideas.
Yeah.
Anyway, from one flight deck to another flight deck, Andy, you've got the next story.
Yes, this is from paddleyourown.canoe.com, and the FAA fears that the pilot or the captain of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner might be killed due to a faulty safety mechanism that would send a bulletproof panel flying towards their head. The FAA fears that a faulty safety mechanism built into the bulletproof doors could send a heavy panel flying towards the captain's head in just 20 to 50 milliseconds, possibly resulting in serious injury or even death. The revelation has come to light in a proposed airworthiness directive that will require airlines to limit the movement of the captain's seat so that the pilot's head is no longer in the path of the flying panel. The panel is built into the cockpit door and is deliberately designed to fly off in the event of sudden decompression in the flight deck in order to equalize the pressure between the cockpit and the cabin. The FAA says it has previously certified flight deck doors to have this special panel installed, but the agency has since concluded that in some circumstances, the panel could strike the captain's head or face, causing severe blunt force trauma. The exact circumstances in which this type of accident can occur are incredibly rare and would require a flight deck decompression event to take place at the same time that the captain, who always sits in the right-hand seat, well, that's wrong, who always sits in the left-hand seat, is resting with the seat pushed all the way back and fully reclined. It's okay. So the captain has got to be basically lying down for this to kill him.
Right.
Known as controlled rest, many airlines allow one pilot to sleep during the cruise phase of the flight in order to prevent fatigue, and being able to fully recline the pilot's seat could be the difference between the captain being able to achieve rest or not. In response to the proposed airworthiness directive, some airlines said that the FAA's proposal to fit a mechanical limiting device to the captain's seat could increase pilot fatigue. British Airways told the FAA that the risk of pilot fatigue outweighed the low risk of a flight deck decompression event, while Air France said it might need to start crewing all Boeing 787 flights with 3 pilots so they can get some rest in special crew bunks. Similar concerns were raised by KLM, which told the FAA that it was concerned flight safety might be compromised because pilots won't be able to take proper controlled rest. The FAA, however, has dismissed those concerns, saying in an unpublished update that the risk to flight crew is unacceptable and that delaying this action will be inappropriate. As a result, the FAA will require operators of all Boeing 787 models operating to the United States to install a mechanical limiter to the captain's seat. The FAA estimates that for US airlines alone, the retrofit project will cost nearly $250,000. Airlines will have 3 years to make the necessary changes after the airworthiness directive is officially published. British Airways said supply chain constraints meant that the compliance date should be extended, but this request was also rejected by the FAA. There's a few errors in there, isn't there? The captain doesn't always sit in the right-hand seat.
True.
And it seems incredibly rare event that could occur here. Why not just fix the door instead of limiting the pilot's seat? Wouldn't that
Very
make more
good.
sense?
Yeah, it would.
That would make more sense, yeah.
Yeah. Is that because it's a quick and easy fix that doesn't have to be recertified? Is that what?
Probably, yes. Putting a limiter on moving the seat back.
Yeah. I'm not saying that's the right solution, but it's
Well, exactly. But if the FAA are so adamant about this, then they should be saying fix the door, not not limit to the seat.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm thinking that they're just aiming at the wrong end of the thing here completely. And I think when I don't know what sort of flight deck crew training goes on when it comes to the ergonomics of the whole thing. But if you remember that fella that dropped his digital SLR down in front of it, was it the? It was.
Oh, that was on 330.
It was on a 330, wasn't it? That's right. Yes. And that got jammed. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, every time I've been in a cockpit in the simulator, it's an awkward place if you're not familiar with it. And I'm sure it takes a long time to get familiar with the environment as well, not just switch positions, but seat adjustment and all the rest of it. And it'd be quite easy to do something which could cause a problem. But I would imagine that's all talked about, the first time you get into the thing itself,
Oh, absolutely. You have, when you learn to fly, you spend many, many hours in the simulator, so you get quite used to it. You don't have the flight deck door in the simulator, though. So that's the difference once you get on the actual aircraft.
Yeah.
It just seems insane that they're insisted, no, you can't lie your seat back because then this thing might fire off and hit you. Well, then what's it going to do now? What if it fires off, hits the back of the seat, and then cracks a window? Or there's even just fix the door. Simply, just say fix the door panel,
or damage the overhead actual panel if it came up.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it could fly off and hit anything.
Yeah,
crazy.
Gaffer tape. That's what I need.
Speed tape. Just
Speed
expensive
tape, yeah.
gaffer tape. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one comes from avweb.com. Pilots on ground, coach passenger in landing King Air.
Oh, wow.
So a passenger took control of a King Air C-90 from its incapacitated pilot over Southern California last Friday and managed to put it down safely on a runway at Meadows Field in Bakersfield. The plane ran off the end of the runway, but was undamaged and no one was injured. First responders performed CPR at the scene and took the pilot to a hospital, according to KJET News. They said, I would say the passenger did an outstanding job, they said, of getting the aircraft down safely. Kern County Airport's director, Ron Brewster, told the TV station. He was a passenger with knowledge, but no pilot certificate. The pilot was transported to the hospital, and they didn't have his condition at that current time. The FAA issued a following statement. The passenger of a twin-engine Beechcraft King Air 90 landed at Meadows Field Airport in California at around 1:40 p.m. local time on the Friday, October the 4th, after the pilot had a medical emergency. 2 people were on board. The aircraft departed Henderson Executive Airport in Las Vegas and was heading to Monterey Regional Airport in California. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board are going to investigate, and the NTSB will be in charge of the investigation and provide updates. The aircraft, owned by a private company in Henderson, Nevada, took off from Henderson Executive Airport at 11 a.m., bound for the Monterey, California airport. The IFR flight plan took it on a loop through Southern California before turning north towards Monterey, and the track showed it maintaining a steady 219 knots at 20,000 feet for almost 2 hours when it turned south and began an erratic descent towards Bakersfield. So, to sum this up, lucky that the person who was on that aircraft obviously had some degree of knowledge of how to fly an aircraft, but
yeah, well, it's not an easy aircraft to fly either.
No, because you can feather the props and stuff on the.
Oh, you could get yourself, if you don't know what you're doing, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble in a turboprop like that. Yeah, so very good instruction from the ground as well. That'll have helped a lot. But nice that it turned out well for everybody. We hope.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations that you'd like to think that, obviously not you, Andy, because you are our resident commercial airline pilot, but if the question was asked, Nev, and they asked for someone to go up onto the flight deck of that 320, I'm sure you'd jump up there, wouldn't you, Nev?
No, it's not going to happen. I should be in 1A and I should be expecting service.
Excellent
wine,
service as always, absolutely.
caviar.
Let's not forget, we have seen Nev fly in A320.
Yeah,
Oh, now come on.
And parts of it were within
Tolerance.
structural limits as well. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, we've seen it on more than one occasion. I've commented on one set of flying
Yes.
that we did.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, an A320 is a different order of magnitude. In fact, probably easier with an A320 than a King Air, I would have
Oh,
thought.
massively. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How about you, Carlos? Do you think you could do it?
I'd have a damn good go, Andy.
Of course you would. Yeah.
I would not turn that offer down, that's for sure.
What?
I'd have a damn good go at racing a Formula One car, but do you think I'd do a good job?
See, I
you
couldn't
might
do it
do.
because I'd be so worried. So, from my perspective, I'd be so worried about, bearing in mind that there's other passengers there. If you see what I mean, I wouldn't be able to cope with that responsibility. I'm not going to lie, because I've got literally no knowledge at all.
You've probably got more than some have.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely not. I mean, because I didn't even have a go in Putney when we did that. So I've literally never sat in a simulator. I wouldn't have the first clue how to do. If I was on my own and I was only responsible for myself and there was literally no other option, then I might give it a go just, because it's like, well, I'm going to die anyway, let's have a go. At least I could just, try and make it a slow crash.
Well, we're going to have to change that in the future, then, aren't we?
Yeah, probably.
You're going to have a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Adams has just mentioned something in the chat room there, Nev. I don't know if you can see that there. Just pop on the screen.
Yes, I did land the 737 at the 200th show. Landing and, it's a bit more difficult than that, but yes. No, I did prefer the A320 that when I was with Andy and Matt over in Cambridge that time, I must say. That's my kind of aircraft, definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Next up, Nev, you've got more interesting news on an airline I think we've covered for the last 1,000 years, and it's still not doing any flying.
Well, I hope it does, but I'm concerned about it. It's on ukaviation.news, and it says that Global Airlines takes another step towards starting operation. Prospective startup airline Global Airlines has taken another step forward to being an operational airline after signing an agreement with German MRO Elbe Flugzeugwerke GmbH, EFW, to prepare and maintain its sole Airbus A380, which was currently stored at Prestwick Airport. Global Airlines signed the contract this week, which will see EFW carry out airframe heavy maintenance on the ex-China Southern A380, which was purchased from High Fly Malta. In a statement, EFW said it will be responsible for all scheduled maintenance, including mandatory inspections and component replacements. Works will commence at EFW's Dresden facility during the fourth quarter of the year. Once the maintenance and flight preparation is complete, the A380 then will have a cabin refit ready for operations, which Global hopes will be in 2025. Global Airlines is the idea of James Asquith, who thinks he sees a gap in the transatlantic market from London Gatwick using high-density aircraft. Their 380 will have a three-class layout with between 450 and 470 seats. Destinations touted by Global include New York and Los Angeles, putting in direct competition with Heathrow-based British Airways and Virgin Atlantic and American and United. I don't know if you've seen how many aircraft operate across the North Atlantic. If you look on Flight Radar 24 at any time, it is an incredible number. And they're all two-engine aircraft. And my only concern about this operation is with one aircraft should it go tech down route, then you've got to do a whole lot of plate spinning in order to recover from that situation. I don't understand how he thinks there's a gap in the market for high density stuff across the North Atlantic. I wish I knew, and if he can come up with a reasonable argument, I would certainly listen to it. But it's just oversaturated, isn't it?
I'm going to say one name, Nev. Freddie Laker.
Yeah, I mean, he with the DC-10, he was very successful for a short period of time. But we all know that low cost. Now, I don't know whether this will be a low cost operation because I don't know what the ticket price is going to be. But people only make money on the transatlantic routes in business and first class seats. Economy seating, the airline's not making much money on it, I don't think. So it is.
Did Freddie Laker start out doing just one aircraft over the Atlantic? No. He worked in several airlines before. Yeah. He had British Air Ferries. He had mountains of experience. Norse are in a lot of trouble at the moment financially, and they operate far more efficient aircraft over across the Atlantic, and it's not working for them. How this guy thinks one fuel-guzzling aircraft is going to work on any route, it's just a vanity project, in my opinion.
And I hope he's got better reliability on this one than BA have on their 12 A380s. I mean, they're in maintenance all the time. Sorry, not all the time. A lot of the time. They've had a lot of unreliability from those aircraft over the years. But I just don't understand it. I mean, the commercial model is well known about what works and what doesn't work across the North Atlantic, whether it's East Coast or West Coast US, I would say.
It's like you said, Nev, I don't see where this gap in the transatlantic market is at the moment.
And the thing is there really... I mean, I know an A380 in economy is not a bad seat, it has to be said. Not that I've ever done that. I was normally upstairs, obviously. But it's... people want to pay a bit more. They want to pay for a premium economy seat, mostly. Not everybody, I understand that. But it's not as though that the North Atlantic route is short of capacity, is it? I mean, I would imagine that the four major carriers, BA, American, United and Virgin, their load factors across the North Atlantic must be pretty damn good, I would think, for the most part. I don't know how many BA, run to JFK these days or Newark, but quite a lot per day.
We had a story last week, Nev. I think it averaged out at 15 flights a day to New York just from BA.
Yeah.
So if that's just BA, then American probably isn't far behind. Virgin, United. There's a lot of flights a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, as James Asquith has very kindly connected up with me on LinkedIn, perhaps I'll ask him some direct questions and perhaps we'll
get him on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm guessing, Andy, that long haul wouldn't be something that you would ever want to go and try in your career.
No, thanks. Nope.
No, don't think so. No. Right, Andy, you've got the next story. And
yes.
30% pay rise.
Yeah. This is from the bbc.co.uk. Boeing withdraws 30% pay rise offer to striking staff. Boeing says it has withdrawn its pay rise offer to striking workers after negotiations with union representatives reached a stalemate. The aviation giant accused the union of not giving its proposals serious consideration. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers Union, IAM, said Boeing was hell-bent on standing on the non-negotiated offer, which it says was rejected by its members. Last month, Boeing announced what it called its best and final offer to workers, which proposed a 30% rise over 4 years, lower than the 40% being demanded by the union. The union made non-negotiable demands far in excess of what what can be accepted if we were to remain competitive as a business, Boeing Commercial Airplanes President Stephanie Pope said in a letter sent to employees. Given that position, further negotiations do not make sense at this point, and our offer has been withdrawn. But union representatives said Boeing was not willing to negotiate the terms of the plane maker's latest offer. A negotiator said, attempted to address multiple priorities that could have led to an offer we could bring to a vote, but the company wasn't willing to move in our direction, IAM said in a statement. More than 30,000 Boeing workers in the northwest of the US went on strike last month after overwhelmingly rejecting a tentative deal that included a 25% pay rise. In response to the walkout that has shut down production of some of its aircraft, the company has suspended the jobs of tens of thousands of staff. Boeing has said US-based executives, managers and staff would be asked to take 1 week of furlough every 4 weeks as long as the strike lasted. The firm has said the impact of the strike will depend on its duration, but analysts say an extended stoppage could cost the firm and its suppliers billions of dollars. The last strike at Boeing in 2008 lasted about 8 weeks. The standoff adds to the challenges faced by Boeing's new chief executive, Kelly Ortberg, who was appointed in August with a mission to turn the business around. Before the walkout, the company had already been dealing with historic losses while production had slowed as the firm responded to concerns about the qualities of its manufacturing. More problems at Boeing.
For a change.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I like the headline. This is, here you go, this is the union member in me. This 30% pay rise offer over 4 years. But I guess the union wanted to talk more about their terms and conditions and hours of work and stuff like that, and the company weren't interested.
Yeah. Not a surprise, though, is it really?
Well,
I seem to remember as well, obviously aircraft are manufactured, all over the country and overseas as well. And different states have different union rules and regs as well, very often. So, but this, whatever the outcome of this is, ultimately, this is just, all this means is more delay in getting aircraft off the production line, isn't it?
yeah. And if it is costing start costing them a lot of money, then I think they'll be more willing to get back to the table and sort something out. It's a bit of a standoff at the moment, isn't it? It's who's going to blink first.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I updated this story this morning when I got up because they hadn't actually withdrawn the offer at that point, but they now have. So, yeah. We shall see.
Hopefully next week on the show we won't have any stories at all about Boeing. Or if we do, they'll be fantastically happy ones.
Right.
That's a lot to happen in a week.
Yeah.
It is a lot to happen in a week. I don't think it's going to happen.
No. Aerosociety.com, this one comes to us from another great article from Charlotte Bailey, following on from the how many paper straws are equal to a private jet commute. Remember the story we had a few weeks ago. This one about encouraging us to do our bit for aviation and the environment by eating more chips. Yeah.
Amen to
No
that.
issues there. If you make it, we will fly it, proudly proclaimed Shai Weiss, CEO of Virgin Atlantic, as the pioneering Flight 100, the first transatlantic airliner fueled exclusively by sustainable aviation fuel, took off from London's Heathrow Airport in November back in 2023. However, despite SAF being universally acknowledged as a key tool in aviation's short-term decarbonisation arsenal, it's evident that this so-called sustainable option may not be the scalable solution the industry requires to meet its 2050 net zero targets. Powering the 787 Dreamliner's Rolls-Royce Trent 100 engines were 60 tonnes of SAF provided by fuel supplier Air BP and Virent. Produced using the hydroprocessed esters and fatty acids pathway and subsequently blended with synthetic aromatic kerosene at 88% to 12% ratio. There are currently 11 authorized manufacturing methods evaluated and approved by the ASTM International to produce drop-in SAF, with another 7 under evaluation. However, through the International Air Transport Association, IATA noted that total SAF volumes created reached over 600 million litres in 2023, double the amount produced in 2022. In April 23, roadmap for the development of UK SAF industry states, although the HEFA pathway dominates current production, the waste oils and fats this approach requires are limited to their availability. However, it remains the go-to pathway as it offers comparatively low technical risk and capital loss. Crucially, SAF, although global SAF production is expected to further triple to 1.85 billion litres in 2024, the aviation fuel estimated requirements, IATA adds that approximately 85% of SAF facilities are coming online over the next 5 years will utilise HEFA technology. Why does I always think of beef when I hear that name? Turning ship oil into fuel is, after all, nothing new. Back in 2018, McDonald's alone estimated it collected approximately 618,000 litres of used oil from 165 London branches, which was converted into approximately 532 litres of biodiesel. The American fast food giant took things a step further in 2019 when 5 on-site restaurants in Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport partnered with fuel supplier Nestle to turn its oil into low-emission renewable fuels such as SAF. However, used cooking oil contributed to over 50% of the UK's renewable road-based transport fuel in 2023, with the DFT noting in particular, we are conscious of the possibility that high levels of HEFA use in aviation could lead to diversion of feedstocks that could be used in a more efficient manner to produce biodiesel for difficult to decarbonise road transport models. Now, the story does go on quite a bit, actually. But, yeah, are we going to get 100% there? I don't think we're going to get 100%, are we, into using chip fat oil to power an entire flight from A to B?
No, we've had this discussion many times before.
Yeah.
SAF will only ever be a part of the equation. Hydrogen is the future eventually, but it's a long, long, long way away. So they need to come up with better ways of making synthetic fuel, essentially.
Yeah. What do you think? A bit of chip fat power in your BA flight, Nev?
Yeah, why not? And have some fish as well, perhaps, with it. Yeah, it's it's a big discussion, isn't it? Because obviously airline fuel, aviation fuel, is one of the most expensive parts of the flight in terms of the cost, the incoming cost to the airline. And even with sort of clever hedging and this sort of stuff, let alone the environmental, arguments and all the rest of it, it's still quite difficult to do anything sensible with it because of the amount of grunt you need in an aircraft engine. And as Andy says, hydrogen probably has the most high possibilities out of all the fueling technologies, I would have thought.
There's just too many variables and unknowns at the moment with hydrogen. Rolls-Royce are busy trying to come up with a method that works, but a hydrogen leak in a cabin is deadly. Trying to store hydrogen can be deadly. Trying to then get it to the temperature to use in an engine specially designed for it can be deadly. There's so many factors at the moment. I mean, let's not forget, when we go on an aeroplane, and Matt might want to close his ears here, you're sitting on top of a lot of extremely flammable fluid. It's a similar concept, but it's not under pressure as hydrogen would need to be, and that adds the extra bit of risk to it. So there's still a long way to go. But they will find the answer. I mean, look how far aviation went from the Wright brothers to Concorde. It didn't take long, did it? Really, in the grand scheme of things. And if this is a way to either to save money, aka make a lot of money, then the technology will come quickly.
True. Yeah, I think it's, of course, with the unstable situation in the Middle East, although, funnily enough, our sort of domestic petrol and diesel has never been cheaper. With the things that are going on, you never quite know what's going to happen to the price of any kind of fuel. So it will be interesting to see if there's other genuinely sensible technologies that could be used. But as with so many things in aviation, the regulation, the certification for it is going to take some time, whatever fuel is used for the power plants.
Talking about the price of fuel for your car, I'd like to be able to do what we do in the aviation world, where we hedge our fuel at set prices. I'd like to buy a lot of fuel now at the current price for the next year.
That's a good idea. Yes.
I think it is going to go back up.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, yeah, 100%. Definitely.
To get a very big Bowser and put somewhere, Andy.
No, just like we do in aviation, we just say to a company, right, what's the price per ton now? And we'll pay you that for the next year, regardless of how the price changes. That's how it works. So just do the same now. I'll buy 10,000 litres at £1.35 a litre. There you go.
Yeah.
Do the prices differ? Because obviously, I'm guessing when you refuel in other countries, Andy, the price differs quite considerably between EU countries when you're refueling, or is it?
Oh, I've got no idea. That's all. We don't turn up with a credit card and a BP, a Shell loyalty card or anything like that. That's all sorted out in agreement with the individual fuelers, and we hedge the fuel as a big lump, and then that gets distributed out amongst these suppliers that we use, and we pay them for their service. There's a lot in the background that goes on with it that I'm not privy to, but that's generally how it works.
God, imagine if you could use your points card. Whew. Blimey.
A lot of nectar, isn't it? A lot of nectar points.
You definitely have at least 2 or 3 nice decanters and some glasses, and
Yeah. There's some cool pumps out there. I remember when I used to go to Dortmund, the fuel pump would actually come out of the ground, and it looked like a normal fuel pump. And then this big pipe came out, and they just clipped it up to the aircraft. Brilliant. That was quite good.
Lovely.
Do you do any tankering of fuel if it's particularly expensive down route sometimes?
Yep. Yeah, we do. It can vary where we tanker, how we tanker. It's all about cost versus benefit as well. So sometimes we do. And also, again, some of the Greek islands can get quite expensive, but if it then limits your performance on landing, it doesn't really work. So again, you have to balance all of that up. But again, we've got very fancy computer systems that work all that out for us, and we just get the print out at the end and go, oh, okay, yep, cool. That's what the system says we can do. Let's give it a go.
Right. Well, that wraps up the news for this week. And Nev, what's coming up next?
Oh, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. I wasn't fully prepared for it. Well, I've not seen any of this yet at all, but it's the retro airline of the week.
Okay.
I hope you're prepared for this, Mr. Smith.
No, I'm not. Chat amongst yourselves for a moment. Carry on.
Yes, I've not actually. Sounds poor, I realise. I've not actually watched the last couple of weeks of the show due to, well, in fact, I've been busy. But I'm really pleased, Carlos, that you've managed to find all these retro airline ads, because I would have thought there'd just be a handful left to see. But you managed to dig into the archives, don't you, and come up with them. But,
we are indeed ready, I'm pleased to say.
Good. Well, this week we go back to 1972 and to an airline that not only had a fleet of Lockheed TriStars, but also had the Boeing 747 and a pilot called Captain Jack Bell. Not to be confused with Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh.
Captain Jack Bell, First Officer Steve Carter, Second Officer Len Rossman fly for Delta Airlines. They fly the Delta 747, world's largest jetliner. And this is what things look like in the cockpit. Captain Jack Bell is one of the 3,100 pilots who fly Delta's fleet of 176 jets and carry over 2 million passengers each month. Jack Bell started out with Delta flying a DC-3. Now he's sitting in the captain's seat of a Delta 747. He has over 29,000 hours and 10 million air miles under his seatbelt. He's a highly skilled professional. One of the 26,000 people who make Delta the airline run by professionals. When you're flying, it's nice to know there's a Jack Bell up front. Delta is ready when you are.
29,000 hours and he still can't maintain a centre line.
Well, I was just about to say he was a bit off there, wasn't he? A bit off. And did you see that the flight engineer looked a bit concerned as well?
Yes.
They were just turning onto the runway there from the taxiway. So
maybe Jack Bell's not the man you want in front. Maybe he was in the 1970s, but things have moved on.
Oh my.
29,000 hours of flying. I don't want to get anywhere near that number. That's too many.
that's a lot. The EU would have a fit, wouldn't they?
Yes, and I agree with John Jest. I think Captain Jack Bell would be a CRM nightmare, and he probably thinks CRM means Captain's Right Mate.
Oh dear! What a classic piece of footage, though. I'd never seen that one before.
No.
Yeah, that was one of the old 7.4s, ain't there? Like a 200 or 100.
Looked like it,
100.
Yeah.
It's a 100 series.
Yeah. Wow. So I hope you enjoyed all the adverts we put on here for the retro airline. I've got plenty more in the folder for next week, so it'll be another fresh one on the show next week. So time to move on with a bit of grey stuff. Nev's favourite part of the show.
Blast up bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 bogies.
Right. And our first story this week comes from simpleflying.com. And this is the US Air Force retires the final KC-10 extender tanker after 43 years of service. The final one of 60 KC-10s procured by the United States Air Force has finally been retired. Travis Air Force Base held a final walkthrough tour for the KC-10 on September the 25th, 2024. The final farewell ceremony occurred in Hangar 46 at Travis Air Force Base in California. After the official speeches, the last KC-10, call sign Gucci-10, took off to be stored at the Boneyard at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. As these final aircraft are being placed in storage, there is a chance they will be returned to service if the Air Force needs them before they age out and are eventually scrapped. Travis Air Force Base posted on X, "Today is a bittersweet day as we bid farewell to the last KC-10A extender heading to the Boneyard. Thank you for your service, Big Sexy," which was the unofficial name for the aircraft.
Wow.
The Air Force's new fleet of KC-46 Pegasus tankers is replacing these legacy tankers. Previously, the last KC-10s had been deactivated during a ceremony held on October the 4th, 2023. That ceremony last year was held at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. As the last KC-10 was deactivated last year, the Air Force wrote, "The event marked the end of an era in military aviation and highlighted the changing landscape of air power in the 21st century." During the 2023 ceremony, Air Force Major Joseph Rush, 908th EARS Commander, stated, "It's been a bittersweet deployment. The KC-10 will continue to fly for the next year until all the tails have retired and crews have cross-trained into the KC-46. And now that time has come to pass." The Tri-Jet KC-10 extender has been a stalwart workhorse for the US Air Force for decades, helping the Air Force project power across the world. The US Air Force boasts over half, so 500 to 600, of the world's largest aerial refueling tankers. A tanker can extend a fighter jet's 2-hour unrefueled flight time to an 8-hour combat mission. The KC-10 extender not only carried fuel, its primary role was air refueling, but it also carried cargo and passengers. And it was counted among the world's top aerial tanker aircraft. So I'd much rather see the KC-10 than the KC-46, in my opinion. It's a beautiful old bird, the DC-10. And I did enjoy seeing them at Mildenhall a lot when I used to live down that way.
You used to live down this way?
Yeah, I used to live down south and drive the hour and a bit over to Mildenhall. It was great.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I was never a fan of the DC-10.
Oh, it's lovely. Just like the L-1011, both beautiful aircraft.
it just always just seemed that the number 2 engine on the DC-10 was just sort of just kind of slung on. There was no kind of attempt to make it look nice. Obviously, Lockheed did with the TriStar, but
That's why it sold more than the TriStar, because it cost less.
yeah, well, yeah, I don't disagree there. There were some certain issues in that with that, but yes, always a shame to see when these aircraft get retired. But I would imagine there'll be some sort of tag or parts being sold online somewhere of one of these if they do make it to a dismantler, no doubt.
Well, they park them up, don't they? They actually mothball them, so they can reactivate them if necessary. So I don't know if we'll ever see any parts. Hopefully.
Well, next one is from af.mil and aerodynamics testing on the KC-135 Strato tanker. Confirmed vertically mounted wiper blades reduce aircraft drag by approximately 1% during cruise conditions. Wow, that's a hell of a saving. Potentially saving the Air Force $7 million annually in associated fuel costs. Actually, no, I'm looking at the pictures on that. That does make sense. Got those shows on there. Across the KC-135 fleet, blades are positioned horizontally on the windshield as part of the aircraft's original 1950s design. However, the understanding of aviation aerodynamics is advanced, research indicating placing the wipers vertically when not in use could improve aerodynamic efficiency and optimize fuel use. Commercial airlines first demonstrated the concept on the McDonnell Douglas MD-11, a jet airliner primarily used by the cargo industry, proving that retrofitting the blades vertically could decrease drag by 1.2%. As part of the effort to increase the capability of legacy aircraft, the Advanced Power and Technology Office of APTO, or the Air Force Research Laboratory, identified the KC-135 as a candidate for the modification back in 2019, citing its horizontal wiper design and significant fuel use. According to 2019 data from the Air Force, the total ownership cost database, the KC-135 fleet consumed over 260 million gallons of fuel last year, accounting for almost 14% of total Air Force aviation fuel used. They said we're partnering with the Southwest Research Institute, the Air National Guard, and the Air Force Operational Energy Office to validate the concept and determine actually efficient gains, said Ed Clark, APTO Aviation Program Lead, overseeing the initiative. The team of researchers and aeronautical engineers employed the KC-135 from Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base in Ohio for comprehensive ground testing on the airframe. Using computational fluid dynamics, or CFD, they were able to model how air flows over the nose and windshield of the aircraft during flight, simulating both vertical and horizontal wiper positions. The team plans to further refine the wiper design and layout over the coming months, with the next phase scheduled for summer 2020. They've also partnered with Delta Airlines, which plans to leverage some of the lessons learned on the KC-135 effort to assess the potential of utilizing vertical wipers on their 767 fleet. While a 1% efficiency may not seem like a lot, it equates to millions of dollars in fuel savings each year, which can then be reinvested into other programs, explained Daniel Pike, Acquisitions Manager and Chief of Future Operations for the Air Force Operational Energy, whose office is helping to fund the initiative. So you wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, would you, when you're talking about aerodynamics on an aircraft, having the wiper blades, you know, vertical or horizontal, but
I guess every little helps though, doesn't it?
Every little helps, that is true, yeah.
She's a thirsty old bird as well, the 135. It may have been retrofitted with CF6 engines later in its life, but even those are still thirsty, so like as Matt said, every penny counts.
What commercial aircraft have got vertical parked position wipers? So it's 787, I think, isn't it, from memory?
It's a good question.
Embraer 190 series, I think. So I wonder if that was a part of their
Decision.
thinking about fuel economy and things like that.
Mm.
Or one thing one thing that really sets off my OCD is if Mrs. Nev has parked her car in the garage and the wipers are not in the parked position.
Oh, halfway up the windscreen. Oh.
I have to go out there and adjust.
Ignition on, let it park. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a similar problem in this house, Nev. It's a frustrating one.
And also not when you park, not putting the wheels straight as well. So then when you get in and start moving, that's another bugbear of mine.
No, there is a reason why I do it that in this house. Because it means it's pointing in the right direction when they drive away.
Yes. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Right, so time for Caption This, just for fun for this week. The usual picture that pops up on Facebook.
The picture isn't there, by the way, for some reason.
Oh, isn't
Carlos,
it?
if you could do the honours, or somebody could, I would be grateful.
Okay, right. I'm
Okay.
sure what was in there, but talk amongst yourself for a second while I just find it.
I think this particular picture is right on the edge of decency as well.
Is it? Oh no!
Yes, that's why I was just about to say. I am not describing this week's caption.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely in the folder, Matt. Caption is just a fun folder.
It is there now. Earlier it wasn't for some. Oh right. Oh no.
Oh.
It's sorry, technical problem this end, I think. Sorry, I found it now. Yes, apologies. Oh no.
Yeah, so
Perhaps
I
even
mean,
VMix is objecting to it.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it absolutely is.
I had-
Carlos, I'm just saying, you are completely on your own on this one. We are going to sit back and watch you take us off air.
I had to Google this because I thought this was a fake picture, but it is an actual. It was an actual airline. Had you heard of
This airline.
What's the name of the airline?
Oh dear! I'll tell you what. Shall I just put the picture out? The trouble is, I don't know how we're going to deal with this on an audio-based version of the show.
Right. Okay. So I'll just basically say that the picture for this week is an airline called Anchor Air.
Right. Okay.
The aircraft
And their logo is highly questionable.
MD-83.
I can't see the picture, so I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, there we go. There's the picture. Here we go.
MD 80 something.
Good luck, everyone.
82 or 83.
So the airline in question is Anchor Air, and their
It's
logo,
Anchor, isn't it? Anchor.
Anchor, yes.
Anchor,
Yeah.
yes, Anchor. So their logo is
It looks like the Rebel Alliance.
It does.
symbol.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. Or anything from Shield, frankly, has a similar sort of like logo.
so it basically looks like
Another
W
thing.
slightly.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to read out any of the caption this? Just out of interest.
If you've seen the picture on Facebook, you know what we're talking about. But anyway, we're going to start off because it has sparked quite the conversation.
Yeah, I can
And
imagine.
The first one is from what we've got a picture of. Oh, okay. The first one comes to us from Mark Burgess, who says, "You must be pulling a fast one."
Oh. I'm very nervous about this whole segment.
No.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, John Pickard says, today your pilot will be Willie of Wonka Airways.
I'll do the next one. Steve Howland says, a new budget airline for solo travellers comes to a sticky end.
Oh, God. Matt, do you want the next one? Or do you want me to?
No, I don't. Richard King has said the airline that never uses flaps. Oh, no.
Oh, Lord. Sean Taylor says, don't call for a tug.
Right, okay.
Dave Homewood. Dave, you're getting into the areas of politics now. Keir Starmer's personal jet. Very naughty. Very naughty.
Wow, okay.
Andy, do you want the next one?
Yeah, Drummer Dan says, looks like they are celebrating Palm Sunday with that livery.
Christopherson is saying choppers are also in the fleet, just FYI.
Our very own Nick Codling says this airline really rises to the occasion.
Right. Okay, good.
John Falk says, the CEO said, I don't want my aircraft to be introverted.
No, perish the thought.
I certainly ticked the box there, haven't they?
Oh, wow.
Andy?
The next one is from Matthew Frim. You may think it, but we fly it. Happy endings guaranteed.
Nice to see you with us, Matthew. It's been a long time since I've seen your name. Welcome back. It's been lovely to see you there. Bill Anarek has said, this is Captain speaking. We're just waiting for our release at the gate.
Ross Kennedy says that this this is the airline where the pilots do all the flying by hand.
I mean, apparently that's the best way to do it, from what I understand.
Yeah.
You know, manual flying, always the way forward.
Bill's got the same idea as Sean.
Yeah.
He says, I guess it's just waiting for a tug.
Yes, quite, indeed. Yes, indeed. So,
Yeah. Steve Tyus is getting a flying solo.
Richard King is saying the airline that always likes to shoot an approach.
Gordon Bennett says...
Indeed, Gordon Bennett.
Whole new meaning to the pleasure flight.
Right, okay. Are we still on air? Just checking.
We are.
Right.
Nev.
Darren says, only plane that needs to land on a runway made of tissues.
Right. Wow.
Paul Tricker says, nothing premature about this arrival.
Hello, Paul, the other local listener. Well done.
Oh, dear.
And finally, James Graves Brown says, they really care, but they don't.
One care.
They really care, but they don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't get that.
Anyway,
but that may be just a good thing. I'm not going to lie. Wow. Okay. Oh, no, here we go. Here comes the chat room. I'm a bit terrified of this. You're on your own on this one, Carlos. Knock yourself out. Off you go.
Dirk S says, I bet it had a stick shaker installed.
Hello.
Oh, my word.
Richard E. Flag is saying, Person A, I saw an aircraft named after you. Person B, what, Nigel?
Yes.
That's quite funny, actually. I like that one. Is that what we have?
Yeah, I think we better stop there.
Oh, right, okay, all right. The rest is no longer suitable for work, as it were. Lovely, good, okay. Can I take this picture away now, please?
Yes, you can take that picture away.
Jolly good, thank you.
Hope you all enjoyed this week's Caption This. Thank you very much for all your glorious comments, everyone. Making us laugh here on the show, as you do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, we've got a bit of time left at the end of the show, haven't we? So I thought I might just show you the seating on the new A320neo that I went on the other week to Stockholm Arlanda. I think the aircraft was only about 6 months old, and it's still got that new aircraft smell, surprisingly.
Is that a thing?
It is. It really is. Yeah. And the new seats, they're really, really nice, actually. I think Matt's got a picture of them here. Shame someone's made a mess of the carpet.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's...
The curtains are quite a way back, Nev. The curtains are quite a way back. Is that the...
Yes. I think that was probably... That's actually probably a stock photo, not my own photo, I think, probably. Okay. That's why. No, they've done a really nice job on the seating in these. And, yeah, very comfortable for the 2.5-hour flight to, or 2-hour flight to Stockholm. That was very good. And, of course, whilst everyone was having terrible weather here, I was very fortunate that we had beautiful weather every day there. It's just that nice time of the year in autumn where if you get the weather right, it's very sunny. It's quite cold still, like 10 or 11 degrees, but it was really nice and sunny, which was great. And I do like Arlanda Airport. It's not too busy either, so it's quite nice. But of course, one of the famous bits of confectionery you get is made by a company called Cloetta in Sweden, and they have various names for their chocolate, and this is my favourite one, up on the screen now. I do like a bit of plop. And this is a milk chocolate with caramel centre. It's very tasty, but it's a bit of a comedy name.
If this episode doesn't get taken down by YouTube, it'll be a blooming miracle.
Is that plop chewy?
Not.
Wow. Oh my.
Can't answer that question.
Okay.
Oh God.
So that's that.
Yeah, that's that. That's that ruined. Well done. Oh my God.
Yes. Was Richard E. Flag is just asking a question in the chat room, Nev, although my feed is not refreshed.
Yes, you're right, Richard. That plop is quite runny in the middle, actually. Yeah. Yeah, all very good. I nearly ended up in your part of the world, Darren, the other day. One of my colleagues asked me would I do in fact, it's in November, would I do a show in Oslo for her, but I'm actually doing another show in Edinburgh, I think, so I shan't be able to do that one. But it's a pity 'cause I haven't been to Norway for many years, so I'm trying to find a reason to go. But unfortunately, it just clashed with other shows.
Oh, that's a shame.
There we go.
So quick round robin before we start to wrap up this weekend. Obviously, Andy, you're looking forward to getting back in the air very soon. You said it's not long till you're back in the air again.
I'm in the sim next Wednesday, and then I'm flying next Thursday. So I won't be here next week. I won't be here the week after because I'm on holiday, and I won't be here the week after that either. I'm doing a Nev. Well, I've turned Armando, really. Me and Nev are only allowed to be on the same show a few times a year. So
it's your turn.
I'm taking my 3 weeks off now.
Lovely. Very good.
That's the union rep talking again. There you go.
Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you want to agree to me terms.
True.
God, the money we pay you, honestly.
I know. I don't want to alarm anyone, but I'm going to be away at the 25th of November, just so that you know.
Oh yeah, but you've got a damn good excuse, Mr. Smith.
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. Well, what? Andy hasn't.
No, he's off on holiday.
Well, so am I.
You know.
So am I. Yeah. Anyway, never mind. Mr. Bounds, will we have the pleasure of your company next week?
Surprisingly, yes, I shall be back. Back for some more. What are we doing this week? London trips this week. Basingstoke on Friday.
Ooh, it's exotic.
Posh places.
I know.
Then next week, actually, at the end of the week, I'm off to Cork for Friday and Saturday. One of our customers is having an event over there at Logitech's HQ in Cork, actually, which would be quite nice. So I'm going there to see him, flying with the Aer Lingus boys. Haven't done that for a while. So got some tips on seating from Alan White, our chum over there, and must talk to Alan. Actually, Alan's texting me some really fantastic news from his side of the world, but I'm not sure whether it's available for public consumption yet, but I will check with him at some point and see if we can talk about it at some point, perhaps definitely later in the year. But looking forward to going to Cork. It's a great part of the country. I like it down there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world, isn't it?
Yeah. About you, Mr. Smith? Anything exciting going on this weekend?
No, not really. No, just doing the usual radio. That's about it, really.
Yeah.
Normal. And,
I'm heading off to London Norwich International Airport on Sunday.
Oh, steady.
To pick up Gemma travelling back from Prague. So that'll be exciting for me. Although it's an afternoon flight coming in, so it's nice. I haven't got to get up stupidly early to go there.
Oh, that's not.
Is it a direct flight or is it through Schiphol?
It's through Schiphol.
Yeah.
So yeah, she'll be coming in from. I think she had an Embraer 175 and then a 195. So that'll be the same coming back, I'd imagine. Yeah. So see what her impressions are of the Embraer. I'll have to have her on the show next week.
Ooh, good luck with
Don't know.
that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Anyway, right. Social media links. Nev, where can our awesome listeners find out more about us online?
Oh, absolutely everywhere. So if you're on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, or LinkedIn, you can search the social medias for Plain Talking UK. You can email the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, and you go to our website, which is www.plaintalkinguk.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel also, and you'll get notifications when we go live. Just press the subscribe and the notifications button and the bell, and then you can join us in the chat room. Just have a look, search for Plain Talking UK on YouTube. As I mentioned earlier, you can also become a Patreon, or you can pay by PayPal if you wish, if you could afford to. Helps us a lot with media hosting costs, media serving costs, and that kind of stuff. Just have a look on the website for that. It's on www.plaintalkinguk.com, and there's all the information there about how to do that.
There we go. Find out more about us there. And don't forget, we have got those mugs, which I need to order myself a new one, Matt, because my one I've had for a few years now. I'm going to have to order myself a new mug, I think.
Right, okay. It's It's been through the dishwasher a lot, essentially.
It has been extensively put through the dishwasher, I'm going to have to order myself a new one. Actually, I might treat myself to a military grey one, and I'll get Nev one as well for Christmas.
Oh, what a treat.
Yeah.
Deathly silence.
More on that
Yeah,
later.
my Zoom's not working. I can't hear you. Sorry.
From the Buckinghamshire contingent, there seems to be silence.
So we're going to say a big thanks to everyone who's joined us for the live show tonight, all the YouTube viewers. Thank you to the family all on there. And also big thanks to everyone who listens to us and downloads us through as an audio podcast each week. Big thanks to you guys and girls out there for downloading us. Thanks to Andy for joining us this week. We are going to miss you for the next 3 weeks.
Pleasure as always. I'll miss you as well.
Yes, we will miss you. Thanks to Nev as well for joining us as well this week. Thanks, Nev. Thanks to Matt for being in this master studio, pushing all the right knobs and buttons as he does. And thanks as well to Nick for banging all the show notes together for us this week. And, of course, John, who's probably flying somewhere around the world now, no doubt. But that's it for episode 523.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us tonight, episode 523. We'll be back next Wednesday, hopefully all being well, for episode 524 of the show. Have a great rest of the week. Have an awesome weekend. And, take care, everyone. Say goodbye. We'll let Andy say goodbye because he's not here for a few weeks. Say goodbye, Andy.
Bye-bye, everyone.
There we are. Well done, everyone.
Another one in the can.
Yeah.
I had my flu jab today.
Uh-oh.
And my arm is
Yeah,
aching.
you haven't got much planned for tomorrow, by any chance, have you?
Yes, quite a lot.
Okay, good luck with that.
And there was people older than me, considerably older than me, pushing in front of me as well.
Standard
the
procedure.
Desperate to get their jabs.
Yes,
Well, quite.
terrible. Anyway.
One of my friends has just had the combined one.
Oh, yes.
He's not well. He is not well at all. Yes.
No, I've given up on the COVID jabs now. I think I'm... Although I did catch it, 3 months ago?
Oh wow. Okay.
Both of us had it. Both I ended up having it.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I've stopped doing that now. So just the old flu business, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. No. Good.
Cool.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, right, chaps, I am going to leave you now.
Right.
Yep.
Thanks,
Cheers, mate.
Andy.
Talk to the
Money
world
go.
of YouTube.
Yeah.
All
Nice
right.
to see everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thanks,
watching.
Aaron. Good time.
Cheers. Yes.
Yeah.
Take
Stay
care
safe.
now.
Bye.
See you later. Okay.
I think he's gone off for a sneaky pint, don't he?
Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Indeed. Right. Yeah. We'll say goodbye as well then. And yeah. So you, me, and Neb, by the sound of it, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might try. I might have a little grab and get someone we've not had on for a while on next week.
Okay. All right.
Make a little mission of mine.
You have been warned, community.
Yes. Yes. So
Brace
yeah,
yourself,
thanks
eh?
again, everyone, for joining us tonight. The chat room. Lovely to see you all in there. We really do appreciate all you guys tuning in on a Wednesday night and watching us. We really do. It helps entertain us with the chat room.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
thanks again to Christy G for becoming our latest patron. Thank you to you, Christy.
Definitely.
Appreciate that. So there we go.
Yeah.
Do you want to sign off, Nev?
Yes, why not? Yeah, great to be back this week. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, and hope everybody has a great rest of the week and the weekend. We'll be back Wednesday at 7 o'clock UK time next week. For the time being, bye for now.